Ooh. We live for sure.
That you're the youngest of three? And isn't it true that your sister was a cheerleader for the Dallas Cowboys? And isn't it true that your brother
We live.
Yeah, and you're 20 years younger than your siblings. Is that right? You know why? Because you were a mistake. Let's go.
Yeah, that boy Cody Rhodes just slapped the dog shit out the rock. You gotta be a brave motherfucker to slap the rock, dog. What's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, aka Mazuma TV, aka your grandmother's favorite, aka, yeah, I mean, we definitely in the building, man. We got some things that we need to discuss, but I'm gonna let the people know that I'm live right now, man. If you got the post, if you got the notification, man, shout out to you for hitting that bell notification. I mean, there's a lot of people that's not really getting them at this point in time, but I'm gonna let the chat know that I'm live. We're gonna get this shit going, man. We got 2 people in the building. If you get the like button, it is very much appreciated. My boy Trap Inc. in the building. What's going on? What's going on? I hope you're doing well, my brother. Yeah, definitely hit the like as soon as you come in. Let's get this live popping tonight, man. We got some things that we need to discuss for sure. You know what I'm saying? We had a pretty eventful night tonight. You know what I mean? It was a good night of fights. You know, I went 1-for-1 today. I thought one fight was gonna go a certain way and it didn't. But the one that I actually thought the one that the big fight, you know, I actually ended up getting right. I got the round wrong. You know what I'm saying? But I did get the outcome correct. You know what I'm saying? So if y'all could just come in and hit the like button and let's just discuss what happened. My boy Notes is in the building. He says, up next, word to bro. Man, I appreciate that very much, man. Notes, one of the day ones, definitely in the building, man. What's up? What's up? Yeah, that KO was definitely crazy, bro. That shit was definitely crazy. We was watching that as a group at the boxing gym, man. I wish I would have recorded the reactions, man. That shit was legendary. That knockout had the whole gym shook, for real, for real. But yeah, we definitely gotta get MMA out of boxing, man. I think that should be the closing chapter. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that should be like the closer. You know what I mean? Um, but you know they gonna keep finding their way over here. As long as them MMA dudes is underpaid, they gonna keep coming back to boxing. I guarantee you, if they start paying MMA fighters what they're worth, you know what I mean, giving them bigger bags and stuff like that they could really set up some type of generational wealth, they won't come to boxing. They coming off of boxing because they have no other choice. You know what I mean? Well, obviously they got a choice, but what I'm saying is the reason why they jumping into boxing is so they could get that type of money where they could fall back and be content with retirement. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tesla in the builder says you are appreciated. You appreciate it as well, my brother. Thank you for all the support you've been giving me since you started to come around, man. We got 8 people in the building. Hit the like button. 10 people now. Hit the like button as soon as you come in, man. We got some things we need to discuss, man. You know what I mean? Where y'all want to start first? You know what? Let's get into the biggest topic of today, man. First of all, shout out to Turkey Al Sheik for making this fight card happen, man. We saw Zhang or Zhang. I don't know how the hell they pronounce his name. I'm gonna just say Zhang. Go up against Joseph Parker, man, and I was one of those people that was under the impression that Zhang was going to defeat Joseph Parker. You know what I mean? I thought that his size, strength, you know what I mean, his punching power, his come forward style will slowly but surely break Joseph Parker up and then ultimately get him out of there in the later rounds. That's what I had initially thought. You know what I mean? And for the most part, it seemed like I was on the right track, but there was some things that Zhang did wrong that really cost him the fight. You know what I mean? And it's not anonymous. I don't know if you're talking about me, but I've never been the one. I mean, I've been in boxing too long to believe in triangle theories. You know what I mean? I honestly believe that based off of Zhang's attributes, his overall abilities, I thought that he would have been able to defeat Joseph Parker. And notes talking about they robbed, bro. Now I ain't gonna lie to you, I wasn't there watching too much into detail. You know what I mean? Um, but because I was in the gym and my guys were actually sparring, so I was just making sure they was doing everything correct. But from what I was seeing, man, you could see a significant speed difference between Joseph Parker and Zhang. And by the time it hit like the seventh, eighth round, it looked like Zhang was showing signs of fatigue. You know what I mean? Which was crazy because I don't think he ever I don't remember any of the rounds where like he was fighting at a high pace. So I'm not sure what was going on with that. You know what I mean? I don't know if he was having trouble with just keeping up with Joseph Parker's work rate or his just movement or anything like that. But regardless, man, he looked like he was fatigued. And in a sense, looked like he was gun shy against Joseph Parker. I don't know what it was, man. I don't know if he was overwhelmed by the hand speed. I don't know what it was, but I really do think that Zhang let that man off of the hook. He got 2 knockdowns. You could tell Joseph Parker was feeling the effects of that of those punches and stuff like that. But it's like he had him in the scope, man. He had him lined up for the kill shot, but he wasn't able to pull the trigger, man. It's like his finger caught a cramp or some shit. Like he had him lined up. You know what I mean? He could have pulled that trigger and really got him up out of there, but it was something within him that he wasn't able to do it. You know what I'm saying? And it ultimately cost him the fight because while he was being hesitant with pulling the trigger, Joseph Parker was, you know what I mean, running his points up. You know what I mean? And even with the 2 knockdowns, I think one of them had it 113, 113. So it was a majority decision because one of the judges had it a draw. But I think one of the judges only had him up 1 point, and the other judge had him up by 2 points. You feel what I mean? Uh, so it was a close fight. You know what I mean? It was definitely a close fight, but I guess they all seen the same thing. Besides the one judge that had it a draw, the other judges seen the same thing, and that was um, Joseph Parker outworking Zhang. You know what I mean? Outboxing him, outpointing him. You know what I'm saying? And Zhang, he really fumbled this one. He could have easily won this one and put him in an opportunity where he could have possibly faced the winner of Usyk and Fury. But it looks like Joseph Parker is going to be the one that's going to be a strong candidate either for Anthony Joshua rematch or the winner of Usyk and Fury. You know what I mean? And that's well deserved for Joseph Parker, man. He done been through some things in the boxing ring. You know, he came up short against Anthony Joshua. He got steamrolled by Joe Joyce. You know what I mean? And I ain't gonna lie to you. There was a lot of people out here that believed that Joseph Parker just needed to hang it up. They was counting him out after that loss to Joe Joyce. He didn't have it no more. He would never win a world title again. Now that remains to be seen. I don't know if he wins a world title again. But what I can tell you is he definitely bounced back. He has Andy Ruiz. He has Deontay Wilder. And he currently has Zhang on his resume in terms of wins, man. So you got to applaud that man for it. I mean, he hasn't been given I don't know if he's gotten a world title shot since Anthony Joshua. So with that being known, it's like I think it's time for him to get that bag. You know what I mean? I think it's time for him to get what he's looking for, and that's a world title shot. You feel what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? It was well deserved for Joseph Parker. So shout out to him for facing adversity in this fight and just making through it, just getting through it. Not a lot of people in the heavyweight division could beat Zhang. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I would like to see Frank Sanchez get in the mix with guys like Joseph Parker and stuff like that. I feel like that'll be a good fight. You know what I'm saying? But regardless, man, shout out to Joseph Parker. He did his thing. He did his thing. I definitely want to see him fight for a world title or at least be in a big fight. It's well deserved. You know, he been at the highs. He became a world champion before. He faced the lows again, knocked out and stuff like that. But now he's back on the right path and he just deserves it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah, that's a fact. JA05, he says Zhang, Joyce, and Parker proves the triangle theories and boxing don't work. I mean, yeah, there's plenty of examples that apply to that as well. You know what I mean? We could go Mayorga, Vernon Forrest, Shane Mosley. You know what I'm saying? Like Shane Mosley beat Mayorga. Vernon Forrest beat Shane. But Mayorga lost to Shane, but he didn't lose to Vernon. But Vernon beat Mosley. You know what I'm saying? So that's another triangle theory right there. You know what I mean? That's probably a little bit outdated for y'all. Y'all probably don't even know how that whole situation went. But I mean, that's an example as well. You feel what I mean? So yeah, triangle theories definitely don't work in boxing. Styles make fights. You know what I mean? Just because fighter A beat fighter B, and B beat C, that don't mean that A is gonna beat C. You know what I'm saying? I hope that didn't confuse y'all. You know what I mean? But you get what I'm saying. Triangle theories don't work. So I mean, that was a good co-main event. You know what I mean? I felt like Zhang could have definitely won that fight, but he let it go. He let it slip. He let it slip from his hands, and it cost him. So hopefully he learns from that situation. Ralph says Fernando Vargas beat Winky, Tito beat Vargas, Winky beat Tito. That's another great one. That's another great example right there, man. I didn't even think of that one. So that's actually a pretty good one. But yeah, I stick behind rest in peace, Vernon Forrest, though, man. He was a hell of a fighter, for sure. It's unfortunate, man. But yeah, that's another good one, Ralph. That's a good one to point out. But anyway, man, let's talk about the main event that happened tonight, man. Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou facing two elite heavyweights back to back, man. Has a close, controversial fight with Tyson Fury. Knocks Tyson Fury down and has continued his war path. You know what I mean? Trying to challenge the best in the heavyweight division. He was able to get a fight lined up with Anthony Joshua after Anthony Joshua had an impressive performance against Otto Wallen. And going into the fight, man, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I was kind of scared for Anthony Joshua. You feel me? I understood that he had a great performance against Otto Wallen, and I was one of the people that just said in my prediction video that if he carries himself well, like if he has that aggressive search and destroy style that he had against Otto Wallen and brings it over to Francis Ngannou, I believe he could hurt Francis Ngannou. I believe he could knock him out. But if he was scared, hesitant, and gun shy like he was against guys like Usyk, you know what I mean, Jermaine Franklin and stuff like that. Like this version of Anthony Joshua would have destroyed Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine would have never made it through those rounds with him, to keep it honest with you. But that just lets you know there's been a shift in his confidence, a shift in his mentality. You know what I mean? And he definitely showed out tonight, man. In the first round, Anthony Joshua stood calm and composed and, being defensively responsible in the opening rounds. You know what I mean? And I was really rooting. He says, Mark, are you becoming a fan of AJ? It's going to be hard to be a fan of AJ knowing the history between him and Deontay Wilder, a prime Deontay Wilder, and how he did everything he could to, stay away from the fight and attempt to freeze him out and stuff like that. So it's going to be hard to forget about that. But I'm going to give him his props where he, fight by fight, I'll give him his props. But in terms of being a fan, I don't know if I'll ever be like somebody who's a legitimate fan of AJ. I'm gonna just keep it real. But I understand why a lot of people are starting to gravitate towards Anthony Joshua. It's because he coming in clutch, bro. He's on a good little streak right now, man. You know what I mean? He making statements, and he made another statement tonight. So let me tell you, in the first round, he still composed behind his jab. He was finding his jabs and his right hands to the body. So I'm thinking, okay, he's trying to break the body up, you know what I mean, to try to take that power away from Ngannou. Ngannou the whole time, he's throwing like little tricky shots, throwing left hooks, you know what I mean, trying to counter Anthony Joshua's jab with the left hook. He was just keeping his punches out there and trying to be first to the best of his ability, trying to maintain that aggression and just be the overall aggressor. But Joshua, he kept his range right. No, sir, I could tell Karma wilding right now. You already know she was in her bag. She was happy as shit when that fight ended. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all, it had a great reaction at the gym, man. That was a hell of a knockout. But he's still composed, defensively responsible, was touching the body. You know what I mean? Ngannou was trying to find his counters and just establish his offense overall. But AJ kept his distance and stuff like that. And I believe like midway through the first round, man, he threw a throwaway jab just to keep it, giving him something to look at, and just threw a right hand right down the pipe, man. And that right hand caught him flush on the chin, and Ngannou dropped off of that right hand. You feel what I mean? And you could tell that right hand bothered Francis Ngannou. It went all downhill from there, in all honesty. And you could tell it bothered Francis Ngannou because he took the full 8 count. You know what I mean? The full 8 count off of that first knockdown. So I was like, okay, so that definitely had some steam on it, or it definitely got his attention. It was a great move. If you ever get knocked down, you already lost the round. You know what I mean? So there's no point in like really like rushing the process and getting up, or trying to go out there and you just try to make it through the round, especially if you hurt. Ngannou was definitely shook by that shot. I wouldn't necessarily say he was like dead hurt, like really hurt, but he was it definitely got his attention. It rocked his cradle for sure. So he gets through that round. They go back to the corner, come back out the second round. And Anthony Joshua, staying composed. And what I liked about Anthony Joshua's performances when he dropped Ngannou in the first round, he didn't go all reckless and try to go for the kill. He stood, he kept his aggression under control, controlled aggression, and didn't like go for the gusto, because he made that mistake against Andy Ruiz and got clipped as a result. So you could tell that Anthony Joshua grew and learned from that situation. So he definitely gets a check in my book for that. You know what I mean? He get props for that. So then going into the second round, he goes out. He's establishing his jab once again. And I think Anthony Joshua, he timed it perfectly, man. I think that his whole intention was to keep the jab out there to try to get Ngannou to open up, because Ngannou was trying to play the counter punch and roll. That was how he was able to drop Tyson Fury, playing the counter punch and roll, right? So I think that he was just trying to get Ngannou to pull the trigger on the counter. You know what I'm saying? And it worked because Anthony Joshua shot his jab, and Ngannou tried to come over it. He slips, comes over with the right hand, cracks him right on the temple. You know what I'm saying? Cracks him right on the temple, and Ngannou was extremely hurt after that knockdown. He fell pretty hard, man, and he took his time getting up off of that knockdown as well. He definitely looked confused. He looked like he didn't know where he was. It looked like he was just caught up in the moment. Definitely lost his focus. And Anthony Joshua hits him with the kill shot right after they resumed the contest. You know what I mean? Right hand right down the pipe, and Ngannou leg full behind him. He's concussed. You know what I mean? And a lot of people in my gym started off celebrating, but then when they realized that Ngannou wasn't like waking up for a little bit of time, a lot of people had gotten concerned. You know what I mean? Because these things unfortunately happen in boxing, where you could get hurt and you don't ever wake up again. These things do happen in boxing, unfortunately. And we were hoping that wasn't the case with Ngannou, because he got hit with a hell of a shot. He got hit with all 250 pounds of Anthony Joshua. You know what I'm saying? That right hand was clean, big shot. And Anthony Joshua was one of the biggest punches in boxing. So that's anybody who gets hit with that is going to have some issues. You know what I mean? To the point where Francis Ngannou had an oxygen mask. You feel what I mean? So that's how you know that was an extremely devastating shot. They had to put oxygen into this boy's body so he could wake up. You know what I mean? And thank God he was able to gain consciousness again. They showed some great sportsmanship at the end. Anthony Joshua even gave us some encouragement, like, yo, don't stop boxing, man. You know what I mean? You just keep it going. And this is speaking from somebody who done had their losses, had their tribulations in the sport of boxing. So he knows how to overcome that. He's gotten through it. And he's letting Ngannou know that he could do the same thing as well. You know what I mean? And even though Ngannou is 0-2 right now as a professional fighter, he is still a threat to a lot of these guys that's in the heavyweight division. You know what I mean? I don't think that first performance against Tyson Fury was a fluke. And I think a lot of people were saying that it was a fluke because of how the way he just got decapitated by Anthony Joshua. But Anthony Joshua is just a bad style matchup for him. He's an elite heavyweight that has a shit ton of punching power. You know what I mean? And when you that big, 250, 270 pounds with 10-ounce gloves, bro, all them punches are going to be devastating, man. It's the heavyweight division. Anybody could be knocked out. All them dudes got power. You know what I mean? It only takes one to stop the whole course of a fight, and it was only 3 right hands that got Francis Ngannou, that caused Francis Ngannou to get up out of there. You know what I mean? It was 3 knockdowns. Each one of them was from single right hands. So shout out to Anthony Joshua, man, for preserving the sport of boxing, representing boxing real well, because Tyson Fury wasn't able to do so. And a lot of MMA guys and a lot of MMA fans were talking crazy as a result of it, as if boxing wasn't shit and MMA was up, and, making it seem like the sport of boxing was easy. But this whole situation just goes to show that Tyson Fury didn't take Francis Ngannou serious at all. You know what I mean? Tyson Fury, in my opinion, is still the #1 heavyweight in the sport of boxing. I just think that he underestimated Ngannou because he couldn't fathom the idea of an MMA fighter giving him a tough fight when they've never boxed before. You feel what I mean? So Anthony Joshua, extremely focused for this fight. He didn't want to get upset. You know what I mean? He didn't want to get cooked by MMA dude, so he put his all into this camp. You know, took him serious, and you see what happens when an elite heavyweight takes an elite MMA fighter serious. You feel what I mean? Regardless of Francis Ngannou's power, it didn't help him in this fight against Anthony Joshua, and that's because he's not a boxer. You know what I mean? But shout out to Francis Ngannou, man. You gotta give props to that man for taking on these challenges, even though he's not of this sport. You know what I mean? He's a mixed martial artist, probably the best heavyweight mixed martial artist in the world. Definitely the hardest puncher in MMA, maybe historically. Um, he's one of the baddest men on the planet. You know what I mean? So shout out to him, man. This doesn't change anything. I'm sure he'd go back to MMA, PFL, whoever he signed with, and still get some great fights going. You know, hopefully he could make a fight with John Jones when it's all said and done. There's still some big fights on the horizon for Francis Ngannou. You know what I mean? Shit. Him versus Zhang would be a good fight. You know what I mean? If they end up making it or whatever. Him and Deontay Wilder would be a good fight. That probably will be something that's next for Francis Ngannou, honestly. You know, Deontay Wilder coming off of a loss and Francis Ngannou having 2 straight losses, and they're both still big punchers in the sport of boxing. Why not? You know what I mean? That'll be a great fight. And I think after that, you know, he will be able to get all the money that he's able to get in the sport of boxing and return to mixed martial arts. That's just what I think. You know what I mean? But it was a good night of boxing, man. You know, it was really in the afternoon. It was rumbling at like 7 o'clock in the afternoon. But you know, shout out to them for putting together a nice card, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes next out of Saudi Arabia, which will most likely be um, Fury and Usyk. You feel what I mean? So it was a good fight, man. It was a good fight. And Anthony Joshua put on for the sport of boxing, man. Them MMA dudes been hella quiet since then. You know, I haven't really heard them, nobody talking crazy or anything like that. And hopefully that gives people the understanding that respect the game. You know what I mean? Don't just come over here thinking that because Francis Ngannou had one close fight with an elite heavyweight that you'll be able to have a chance because guys like Sean O'Malley, corny ass, is out here acting like, you know, he could do something in boxing. And then you said I froze? Hold up. I froze? Did I freeze? Did I freeze? No. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. My fault, yo. You know what I mean? I'm still getting the Wi-Fi shit set up over here, but regardless, um, I'm still getting the Wi-Fi. But regardless, man, it was a good fight. You know what I mean? It was a good fight for how long it lasted, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Anthony Joshua does next. Is he waiting for the winner of Fury and Usyk? Is he just gonna stay busy and get that rematch going with Joseph Parker and see what happens with that? There's a lot of moves that Anthony Joshua can make at this point in time. You know what I mean? And seems like his confidence is restored back to the old AJ. Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. You know what I mean? Shout out to Turkey Al Sheik, man. He really got the heavyweight division, you know what I mean, active. You know what I mean? And he making some good fights over there. So you gotta salute that man. Mazuma TV clip says AJ or Fury. Well, I'll tell you what. This current version of AJ right now is going to be a problem for anybody in the heavyweight division. I'm not going to lie to you. However, if Tyson Fury is the Gypsy King, and you know, like saying like in his bag, you know, in top shape, you know, speed there, reflexes there, you know, mobility there, you know, like if he's clicking on all cylinders, man, I think that Tyson Fury will outbox Anthony Joshua. You know what I mean? Um, Tyson Fury is a 6'9" heavyweight that walks around 270, 280 when he's fighting. About I mean, when he's on his toes, man, he moves like a middleweight, bro. Like he's definitely he's a different he's a different breed. Tyson Fury is, you know what I mean. And he has great boxing ability. His feints are good. Will definitely keep Anthony Joshua at bay will definitely keep him hesitant. Those feints that Tyson Fury has is definitely going to have Anthony Joshua freezing up. You know what I mean? He got a good jab as well. I think Anthony Joshua will have a hard time figuring out Tyson Fury's rhythm, and I think that it'll be hard for him to really set his feet in order to punch. Man, I think he'll be missing a lot. That's just me personally, but I mean, if it was the Tyson Fury that Francis Ngannou fought, then Anthony Joshua just going to steamroll that boy. You know what I mean? But it all depends on who's bringing what to the table that night. You know what I mean? It all depends. Yeah, exactly. No, it all depends on what Fury we get. If we talking about the Tyson Fury that was in his bag for the 2, 3 Deontay Wilder fights, then I might lean that towards Tyson Fury. You know what I mean? If AJ is in his bag like he was against Dillian White, Otto Wallen and stuff like that, he might present some problems for Tyson Fury. He might hurt Tyson Fury. You know what I mean? I think it all just depends on who establishes themselves first. Whoever has the better game plan. Ben Davison is a hell of a trainer, bro. Like, I know a lot of people don't really talk about him all like that, but he's stamped, bro. You could tell his game plans work out really well. He was one of the first people that figured out Deontay Wilder how to neutralize his right hand. And I've seen clips of him showing the people how the way you neutralize this one shot and how you avoid this one shot. And it's genius. You know what I'm saying? He definitely comes from a great school of boxing. So from trainer to trainer, I salute Ben Davison. I seen Devin Haney had done some work with him in the past, so they definitely respect his craft. And I would love to have a conversation with Ben Davison, man. I would like to pick his brain, pause, and really figure out like how he came up in boxing and how does he strategize for fights and stuff like that. It'll be uh Anonymous says Andy Lee. Yeah, Andy Lee's a former fighter. You know what I mean? So he definitely provides a solid outlook on the sport of boxing as well. You can learn from all of these guys. You know what I mean? And as a boxing fan and stuff like that. Hold up real quick. Give me 1 second. My fault, y'all. My son got up, man. But yeah, man. It's definitely some. I don't even know what the hell I was talking about. But regardless, man, it all depends on what Tyson Fury we get. You know, because he a problem, bro. You know, I still got him as the number one heavyweight in the world, and I do think that he's gonna beat Alexander Usyk. That's just what I think. I think that he was embarrassed from that last showing against Francis Ngannou. Really, if we speaking honestly on it, you could tell he underestimated him. He said he only trained 5 minutes for Francis Ngannou, and although that may be an exaggeration, I do believe him when I feel like he was underprepared for him. And I think that going into this Alexander Usyk fight, he understands the magnitude of this fight and what's on the line. Tyson Fury still has his O, and this was for all the belts. He's had every single belt before, but not simultaneously. He had 3 of the 4 major titles after he beat Vladimir Klitschko. He had to vacate them, and then he was able to grab the WBC off of Deontay Wilder. But he's never had all 4 belts at one time, and this is an opportunity to do so. So he'll be a he'll be a one-time undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, which I don't believe has been done since Lennox Lewis. And he'll be a 2-time. I mean, he was unified at one point, and then he'll be undisputed at another. You know what I mean? So that's a huge accolade for Tyson Fury. And this is the thing, man. If Alexander Usyk was to win, he'll be a 2-time undisputed world champion as well because he was undisputed at cruiserweight. You feel me? So either one who ends up winning this fight is gonna make history. You feel me? Especially if Usyk does it, he's gonna be looked at as like that. That's like all-time great shit. For him to dominate the cruiserweight division, being the best cruiserweight since Evander Holyfield, then moving up in weight to defeat, one of the best heavyweights of this era. He already beat one of them in Anthony Joshua, and he did that with only a few fights in the heavyweight division alone. And he was able to defeat Anthony Joshua not once but twice. Then takes out Daniel Dubois, who was a contender at heavyweight, that big puncher, big fierce puncher, faced adversity in that fight and was able to stop him. And this is all coming from a guy who fought as low as a middleweight in the amateurs. So you gotta commend that man, regardless of what happens, man. This man is an undersized heavyweight. He's still making it work and beating top guys. You feel me? So you gotta respect that, man. You definitely gotta respect that. Um, Alexander Usyk is a pound for pound fighter in the sport of boxing. I forgot where I had him on my list. Let me see. I haven't updated the list in a little while since I made it with y'all. Let's see. I had Alexander Usyk number 4 on my pound for pound list. You know what I'm saying? Terrence Crawford, NUA, Devin Haney, and then Alexander Usyk right after that. You know what I mean? So I definitely got a lot of respect for Usyk. I do think that he's one of the best fighters in the world. I just think that going up against Tyson Fury, a 6'9", almost 300-pound man with boxing ability and dog in him, I think that it's going to be a little bit too much for Usyk. You tell he's been struggling with these huge heavyweights. You could tell that he feels a size difference, and I think he's definitely going to feel that with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury can make the adjustments, man. He can box you from the outside and make you look stupid. But he could also make it a dog fight. You know what I mean? He could lean on you. He could put that forearm in your face. He could elbow you. You know what I'm saying? He'll headbutt you. He'll do whatever he can to make this fight go in his favor. Tyson Fury is definitely going to test Usyk's will. He might frustrate Usyk. You know what I mean? But then again, Tyson Fury has shown in the past to struggle with smaller guys that could box. Most notably Steve Cunningham. Steve Cunningham was giving him movement, setting traps, even dropped Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury had a tough time with with Steve Cunningham, who was a cruiserweight world champion. And Alexander Usyk is also a former cruiserweight world champion. So we just gonna have to see. We just gonna have to see how Tyson Fury approaches this fight. But he has a lot of tools in the toolbox, man. He could box, he could get gritty. I think his best bet is to really overwhelm Usyk. You know what I mean? Similar to how he did Deontay Wilder. He swarmed Deontay Wilder, made it a dog fight, and then ended up clipping him. I think he got to do the same thing to Usyk. He can't allow Usyk to box and do his little flashy, little cool angles and stuff like that. Fuck that. He got to pin Usyk against the ropes, lean on him, tire him out, wear him out, put all that weight on him, and attempt to drown him. You feel what I mean? Sit down on the punches, really make him feel them shots, especially if you go into the body. He's definitely going to have to do some things. You know what I mean? But I'm really looking forward to seeing that fight. But what I am noticing is a lot of people in the States not really really talking too much about this fight. You know what I mean? They talking about they talking about I look at my algorithm, and a lot of my subscribers are from the United States. Obviously, we got some people in Australia, Japan, and stuff like that. But for the most part, a big portion of my subscribers are from the US. And whenever I make videos about Usyk and Anthony Joshua or Usyk and Fury and stuff like that, it didn't really do too many views. It's like people in the US don't really care about this, even though it's a big fight for the sport of boxing. It's one of the biggest fights that could be made. Blu-ray says Usyk ain't Wilder Mazuma. I never said he was. I don't recall me ever saying that Usyk was Wilder. What I'm saying is he could how can I say this? He can swarm Usyk like Wilder. You feel what I mean? Overwhelm him with the size, leaning on him, because he's a significantly bigger man. You know what I mean? So if he takes the role as the bigger man and attempts to rough up Usyk, he could have some success there. What I'm saying is, I think that'll be his best bet in comparison to just boxing him and allowing Usyk to play chess with him. Usyk is an extremely intelligent fighter, fast hands, good combinations, great boxing ability. He also has great angles. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that Usyk is Wilder. That's not what I'm saying at all. If I didn't say that, so I don't know where you got that point from. But what I'm saying is he can approach Usyk similar to how he did Wilder. You know what I mean? Um, I think that he could really get it off, man. I really think he could get it off. I think if he takes that approach, he could have some success because Usyk does have trouble with these bigger guys. He feels the size difference. Trust me, he feels the size difference. He felt it with Chisora, you know what I mean. Even though he beat Chisora, he felt it with Daniel Dubois. Like he feels a difference, bro. And it's not gonna be any different with Tyson Fury, who is significantly bigger than all them dudes I just named. So Cash Lord Raider, Wilder looked horrible. Yeah, he did. You know what I mean? He definitely did. I think everybody knows that. The ring rust, overall inactivity, bro, it kills. If you're not in the ring sharpening up on your tools, you just sitting around and then you take a fight on 4 weeks' notice, of course you're not gonna look as good as you're supposed to. You know what I mean? I don't believe in ring rust for motherfuckers that stay consistent. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you don't fight in a year, but you've been in the gym the whole year prior to that. The whole build up to that 1 year return, you've been in the gym just working on your craft, sparring, sharpening up on some things. Then I don't think ring rust will really affect you. Like I remember Mikey Garcia was having them troubles with tie rank and all these legal issues and stuff, but he stayed in the gym. You know what I mean? So when he came back and he fought, Darchinian, no wait, was it Zahan Zlatishin, and he fought all them dudes. You didn't see any real ring rust on him. You know what I'm saying? And that was because he's still consistent the whole time. However, if you're just sitting on the couch eating honey buns and shit, or just chilling around the crib and not really devoting yourself to boxing, then you could definitely feel a difference. You know what I mean? I don't believe in ring rust for motherfuckers who really stay in the gym and devote themselves to their craft, even when they don't got a fight date. You know what I mean? Like guys like Jaron Ennis. Jaron Ennis, he only fights like twice, 2-3 times a year now, but he stays in the gym year round. So I don't think it'll ever be an excuse for Boots like, oh, I haven't fought 8 months, so that's why I had this type of performance. Nah, I think that Boots is always going to continuously look sharp because he's always in the gym putting in time for his craft. You feel me? So that's just my personal opinion. I don't know how anybody else feel. Yeah. So let's get into this next topic right here, man. I'm gonna end up touching on the Canelo Alvarez and Jaime Munguia stuff probably later towards this live. I probably only got like 20 minutes left, but let's speak about this right here. This is from my fighter right here, Derek Moore, aka the Maestro, aka Loco. You know what I'm saying? One of my amateur fighters that's gonna be participating in the Golden Gloves, March 23rd. You know what I mean? At Dan Malarkey's Must Fight Gym. So if you are in the tri-state area, if you are in PA, New Jersey, Delaware, you know what I'm saying? stop by Upper Darby. You feel what I mean? And go check out some great fights. You know what I mean? We definitely gonna be in the building. But he says, "What's this I'm seeing about Crawford versus Eubank?" Well, that's a great one. That's a great topic to bring up right now because there's definitely some question marks around that whole situation. It's very confusing. Definitely out of left field. Definitely some random shit. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I would have never thought that this would have been a rumor, let alone even be talked about. You know what I mean? So let's speak about this. So according to the rumors that I'm seeing on social media and stuff like that, there's a rumor that Terrence Crawford may possibly be moving up to 60 pounds to face Chris Eubank Jr., you know what I'm saying, in the summer. So Terrence Crawford's been pretty quiet overall, you know, since his win against Earl Spence. He's been going out doing interviews and stuff like that, supporting other guys in their fights. You know, he's pretty much at the top of the world right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, he was trying to be a stand-up dude and give Earl Spence his word and give him that rematch that he was looking for. However, he faced a lot of tribulations in the process of trying to get that rematch done. Specifically, where Earl Spence getting that cataract surgery and just postponing everything. I guess Terrence Crawford got a little impatient with that whole process, so he walked away. So now he's just chilling. He said he's traveling all 2024. This is something that he said on social media. So now it's like, what the fuck is Terrence Crawford gonna do? You know what I'm saying? He said he's not interested in Jerron Ennis. He said he's not interested in Jermell Charlo. I heard his team be optimistic about the possibility of him facing the winner of Tim Tszyu and Keith Thurman. You know, but hasn't really nothing been said following that. And when they asked Terrence Crawford the last time they spoke to him, who does he want to face? He said Canelo, Canelo, Canelo. Now we know that's not a realistic option for real, because Canelo came out and told you that he's not fighting Terrence Crawford. He says that he feels like he isn't going to get anything out of it. He feels like if he beats Terrence Crawford, they're going to say he's too small. So there's no point in really fighting him. Now, I actually agree with Terrence Crawford in that statement right there, man. I don't really care to see that fight at all. You know what I mean? But I understand what Terrence Crawford is doing, man. He's just trying to get a bag while making history at the same time. And he feels like the only person he can really do that with is somebody that's 3 divisions above him. You feel what I mean? So all of a sudden, there's these rumors coming out now that he might possibly fight Chris Eubank Jr. And I ain't gonna lie, I was pretty confused. I was pretty confused when they brought up the whole idea because I'm like, yo, don't they both have the same trainer? Chris Eubank Jr. has been training with Bomac lately. He avenged his last loss and got a knockout in his last fight with Bomac in his corner, you know, and that's when Bomac got arrested in the UK and all that stuff. So I'm like, what's necessary? Like, what's going on with that? Like, if they do make this happen, well, I shall also mention that Chris Eubank posted the fight poster between him and Bud. So this is something that he's trying to either manifest into becoming a reality, or he knows something that we don't, or this is just him confirming that there's a fight in the works. You know what I mean? So I'm assuming, obviously, that Chris Eubank will be leaving Bomac because there's no way in hell Bomac gonna leave Bud. You know what I mean? That's a whole different type of relationship that's deeper than boxing. I don't think that he'll choose Eubank over Crawford at all. You feel what I mean? Bomac told you on my channel personally when I did that interview with him. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. He said that the relationship between him and Bud is deeper than boxing. He know Bud since he was a baby. You know what I mean? So I don't know how that'll go. I've seen similar situations happen. Like I said, I seen Daniel Jacobs and Sergey Derevchenko fight each other. I think it was like either a final title eliminator or some shit like that, or for a world title. I think it was for the IBF, bro. I'm not sure, but regardless, they were both training under Andre Rozier. You know what I mean? Derevchenko left. Andre Rozier was training with somebody else. Daniel Jacobs ended up winning or whatever, and shortly afterwards, I believe Sergey Derevchenko went back over to Andre Rozier. You know what I mean? So this is something that's uncommon, but has happened before. You know what I mean? So if this is true that Terrence Crawford may actually be facing Chris Eubank in his next fight in the summer, I'm definitely gonna be scratching my head at that one, man, because it's not really making sense to me at all. I feel like the only way that this really makes sense is if Terrence Crawford were to go to the UK and face Chris Eubank, because let's say they were to fight at the Wembley or the O2 or some popular arena out there in the UK, then it'll definitely do some numbers. You know what I mean? The UK support boxing. if they had the chance, if they have the opportunity to see a pound for pound great like Terrence Crawford over there in the UK, you already know they're gonna go out their way to see it, especially if it's against somebody that is from their home country. You know what I mean? So that could be a situation where it makes sense. You feel me? But besides that, I really don't see what would be the whole strategy. Um, I don't see like I want to see the whole strategy in fighting Chris Eubank. You know what I mean? Chris Eubank isn't a world champion. I think he's only had one major title in the past, and we don't even really count it like that, which is the IBO. Don't nobody really rank the IBO all like that. You know what I mean? He's had two big fights in his career, and he stumbled in both. Um, Billy Joe Saunders and George Groves. He lost to both of them dudes. You know what I mean? What does he bring to the table? Seriously. Bo Mack told me, along with Terrence Crawford, said that Jaron Ennis don't bring nothing to the table. You know what I'm saying? Even though he's the IBF world champion at welterweight right now, took one of the belts you had to claim undisputed, and he's been walking around saying he's IBF world champ. He don't bring nothing to the table. Meanwhile, you're gonna fight Chris Eubank, 2 weight classes above where you naturally fight at, for no world title. You know, nothing of that sorts. You know what I mean? I don't even know if it's a big money fight out in the UK. I'm just guessing that might be the best situation where they could possibly make a bag. I just don't get what Chris Eubank brings to the table that Jaron Ennis wouldn't. I really feel like at this point in time, Jaron Ennis versus Terrence Crawford is one of the most demanded fights in boxing right now. And usually the fights that are the most demanded are the ones that generate revenue. You know what I mean? Maybe Terrence Crawford sees something in Chris Eubank that he can exploit. Maybe he just wants to test he want to get his feet wet in the 160-pound division, to see exactly how he feels and see if he could possibly move up one more weight class to face Canelo Alvarez. It could be a chess move to eventually go up to super middleweight. Man, who knows? I don't know what the situation is, but I need y'all to tell me if I'm tripping or not, man. Would y'all rather see him fight Chris Eubank than Jaron Ennis? Is Chris Eubank more deserving of a Terrence Crawford fight than Jaron Ennis? Like, these are questions that I really got to ask, man. Like, I'm not sure. You feel me? Give me one more second. My fault, y'all. My son kind of sick right now. You know what I'm saying? He just keep like fussing and moving back and forth. You know what I mean? I just gotta make sure that he's straight. You know what I mean? I'm in here by myself at the end of the day, so I gotta make sure he's cool. But yeah, man, y'all need to let me know if I'm tripping or not, man. Like, like, do you think these rumors are real? Do y'all really think that it's possible that Terrence Crawford will be fighting Chris Eubank? You know what I mean? Another thing that I was possibly thinking is that, you know, Terrence Crawford might bring Chris Eubank over to Omaha, you know what I mean, and sell out like his home arena or whatever. That could be something where he could possibly make a bag as well, like similar to what he did with David Evanesian. But really, man, I'm lost, bro. I really can't give you an answer on why this is a more deserving fight. This is a bigger fight than Jaron Ennis. I really don't see it, man. You know what I mean? Jaron Ennis, I think not only is a bigger fight, I also think it's a more competitive fight, man. You know what I mean? I think that Boost gives Bud way more trouble than Chris Eubank. Bud is a Boost is a way better fighter than Chris Eubank all around the board. You know what I mean? Overall intelligence, I think Boost got that. You know, being disciplined, I think Boost got that. Chris Eubank wasn't even coachable at one point in time. The man used to train himself. Did y'all know that? he used to train himself. He used to have his dad work his corner, and his dad wouldn't even give him no advice, just give him water and shit like that. Wouldn't even say nothing to him. He used to train by himself, do his own little methods, get ready for his own fights and things like that. He had a perception of being uncoachable at one point. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know exactly how that worked out, man. I don't know what is um I don't even know what initiated that rumor, but with Chris Eubank posting up a picture, it seems like he's pretty much confirming it. And why is Chris Eubank so infatuated with fighting welterweights? You was out here trying to go out your way to fight Conor Benn, even after he failed a performance enhancement. He tested positive for a PED in the midst of getting ready to fight you. You still was trying to give that man the opportunity. What's your infatuation with fighting welterweights, man? What's wrong with you fighting middleweights? You're in the middleweight division, right? You fluctuate between 160 and 168. Why you not fighting none of them top guys? And each top guy that you face, they've only been at domestic level. I remember at one point in time, you were supposed to fight Triple G, but something happened where you forgot your pen or some shit, and Kell Brook had to step in for you. It's real interesting. Real interesting, man. I don't know what Chris Eubank out here doing, man. I don't know if he just trying to cash out, get a bag. I don't know what he doing. I can't really give you the answer for that. But, if Terrence Crawford ends up going down this route and facing Chris Eubank, is it safe to say that would y'all say that he ducking Jaron Ennis? Would y'all give Terrence Crawford that title that he ducking Jaron Ennis? Y'all need to let me know, man. If y'all think that he ducking Jaron Ennis, man, leave a duck emoji in the comments, man. Let me see the ducks. You know what I mean? Because I don't really understand. How could you say that Boots don't bring nothing to the table? Meanwhile, you face Chris Eubank that really don't bring nothing to the table. Y'all need to leave them duck emojis, man. Let me see them duck emojis if you think Terrence Crawford avoiding Boots. You know what I'm saying? And this ain't no disrespect to Terrence Crawford, of course. I'm sure he wouldn't like the idea of being called a duck, but I'm calling a spade at the end of the day, man. You know what I mean? Terrence Crawford, one of my favorite fighters to watch in boxing. I think he's the pound for pound number one fighter in the world right now. But how the way he's moving right now, I mean, he feel like he don't got to prove nothing, and he just trying to get a bag. You know what I mean? He only looking for big fights. Is Chris Eubank Jr. a big fight? Anonymous says, duck if it's true, and I'm a Crawford fan too. Yeah, I'm a fan of Terrence Crawford, bro. I'm a fan of Terrence Crawford. I've been watching him since forever, man. Back when he was fighting Ricky Burns and all that shit. Since Tim Bradley first gave him the stamp, like all types of shit. You know what I mean? I heard about Bud years before he became world champion. You know what I'm saying? Because he was doing his thing in the amateurs as well. Shay says he can have 4 belts again and be 3-time undisputed. That's a fact. Why not go after that feat? Why do you feel like that's not worth it? I remember at one point in time you said you will never give Keith Thurman an opportunity to fight you. Now you out here saying that your team is saying that you willing to face the winner of Tim Tszyu and Keith Thurman. It may be very possible that Thurman may beat Tim Tszyu. So does that mean that you're gonna face Keith Thurman, or are you just banking on Tim Tszyu winning so you can fight Tim Tszyu? I don't understand. Note says, wouldn't say duck. He could do whatever he want, but Boots deserves a shot. Why do you feel? Why is it that fans just? This is the thing, bro. This is extremely frustrating about fans. It's like y'all be cool with fighters doing whatever they want. Y'all just gonna support them regardless of what they do. What makes y'all believe that fighters can do whatever they want when they get a win over one guy? Y'all were just saying that Terrence Crawford had a shitty resume not too long ago, and now that he beats Errol Spence, now he could do whatever he want. He could ride off into the sunset and pick whatever opponents he could pick. Nah, bro. As long as you got them world champions, as long as you got them world titles, man. You got to continuously prove that you the best, dog. That's why I got a problem with Canelo Alvarez and people talking about, oh, well, he's been on top for a long time. He's fought everybody, so he doesn't owe anybody anything. The fuck he does. As long as he fighting and people paying to watch him fight, he gonna always owe the fans something. How the fuck does that work? You know what I'm saying? We over here putting money up for you. And now you coming around talking about you don't owe us shit and you just gonna do whatever you want. What the fuck type of shit is that? Imagine that. Imagine that, bro. You paying this motherfucker, bro. Let's say you a CEO, you a boss or whatever, and you hire this guy to be your regional manager, general manager, whatever. And then he work at your plant doing successful for 8 to 10 years. Then all of a sudden feels like he don't got to work hard no more. That he could just move. He can move however he want in the job, and can't nobody really tell him shit. Yeah, all right, bro. As long as I'm cutting you the fucking check, and I'm paying to see you perform and do what you do. You gonna keep performing at a high level. You know what I mean? I don't really understand that, bro. These dudes be having world titles, and then all of a sudden they feel so entitled to they act like they can do whatever the fuck they want, but then they still expect us to give them their money, give us their money. Imagine that. That's crazy. Nah, I don't think Bud could do whatever he want. I don't think he could do whatever he want at all. As long as he got them world titles and want to keep proclaiming that he's pound for pound #1 and he's the best of this era, bro, you got to keep proving that. Boxing is a sport where you have to constantly show and prove, bro. Andre Ward told you that. Andre Ward was pound for pound #1 for years, and he still was requesting that he fight Sergey. They was talking about fight Sergey Kovalev and all this shit. He went up and he fought Sergey Kovalev. You know, he won the first fight. It was razor thin. It was like, oh, you got to rematch Sergey Kovalev. You know what I mean? So he rematched Sergey Kovalev, stopped him. They were still talking crazy. This sport is constantly show and prove. You know what I mean? Exactly. Shade and drop them belts. Yeah. If you just want to go about your business and do whatever the hell you want, and you don't give a fuck about what fans talking about, then get rid of those belts, relinquish your titles. And if you feel like you too big for boxing where you can do whatever you want, you must be too big for a world title too. So why don't you give up them fucking world titles and let everybody else do their thing? You know what I mean? Since you act like you've done enough. As long as you as long as you are a part of the sport of boxing, it's not over till it's over, bro. Y'all motherfuckers still be want to be active and get money. You know what I'm saying? That act like, you know what I mean, everything has come to an end. You don't gotta fight the best no more. You don't gotta take no more risky fights. Get the fuck out of here. Tripping. I think you talking about the dude Whitaker. Yeah, Ben Whitaker, right? I'm familiar with Ben Whitaker. Hold on, man. When Bud said he offered Boots a fight twice, is that true? No, that's not true. From what I understand, well, this is what happened, right? So, Bud was doing business with BLK Prime at the time, right? So BLK Prime had reached out to Jerron Ennis and his team, Bozy Ennis and stuff like that, and said that they wanted to make a fight happen between Boots and Bud, right? So Boots and them, you know, they had a deal with Showtime, you know what I mean, had a deal with Steven Espinoza or whatever. So they had BLK Prime reach out to Steven Espinoza. I guess through talking to Bud personally, they found out that Bud wasn't really signed with BLK Prime, that he was just doing like a one fight deal with them or something like that. So from what I understand, I believe that Steven Espinoza and them was like, oh, well, if you ain't signed to BLK Prime, let's make a fight happen on Showtime. So after that, after they spoke or whatever, they said somebody didn't reach out or whatever the hell that situation is. I don't know. So I know that was one situation. Now the other one, I don't know about the other situation at all, but what I do know is uh Bud was acting like he would have fought Jaron Ennis if he would have been like his mandatory for the WBO. He said like, why you left the WBO route and then pursued the IBF? You know what I'm saying? Yes. Dumbass cat be chewing on plastic, bro. Oh, so it's not Ben Whitaker. You say he from Australia, Samoan. He better than Ben Whitaker. Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna have to check him out then. Yeah, I don't know, but I know there was one situation where they was arguing on $1 million worth of game. I know Gilly had FaceTime Boots, and Bud was talking to him. He's like, "Why you ain't stay in the WBO rankings? Like, why you left the WBO rankings if you wanted to fight me so bad?" You know what I'm saying? So that was one situation. So that didn't really, I just guess he just went down another path. And it makes sense for Boots to go the IBF route because at the time Earl Spence was champion. He had a deal with Showtime, and Earl was fighting on Showtime. You know, Boots was working with the PBC, and Earl's with the PBC. So that was just the best route to go down at that time. Because at that point in time, I believe Bud was still on the top rank. You know what I mean? So um, I don't know, man. I don't know to understand. But what I do know is the contract was never presented for Boots to sign. You know what I mean? I don't even know if they ever shot Boots an offer for the Terrence Crawford fight. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if an offer is not being sent, and if they don't send an offer, then obviously that's not you're not like on their radar at this point in time. If they were interested, they would have shot Boots an offer. Now, if Boots would have turned the offer down or act like he was gonna go down another avenue, then that's a totally different subject. But Boots done told him, "Yo, you send the contract, I'll sign it," and it's as simple as that. You know what I mean? And I believe him. I don't think Boots will ever turn down any smoke with Bud. I think that's the opportunity he's been looking for years. He's been calling out the top guys for years. Um, Bud said he open for the fight. He just need a bag. I mean, I understand that. It's all business at the end of the day. Bud lost a lot of money when he was up at top rank. So he just trying to maximize the paydays that he get now before he up out of boxing. Because believe it or not, Bud don't got that much longer in boxing, bro. He said he don't want to be here much longer. He feels like he's set for life. But if he could get a couple bags in the process to really make him a little more comfortable before stepping away, then that's what he gonna do. You feel what I mean? So I understand that. But at the same time, it's like Boots is not this big star. You know what I mean? At this point in time, I think he got the potential to be the face of boxing. But at this point in time, uh he's not in a position where he could offer Bud or his team could offer Bud tens of millions of dollars in order to face him. So that's the only dilemma that's going on right now. It's a big fight. I think it's a heavily requested fight in the sport of boxing. But at the same time, Boost isn't at this stage of his career right now where he could offer a fighter 20, 30 million to rumble, you know what I mean, and be actually able to front that. You know, Boost is still getting it from the muscle. You know what I mean? He's still making himself a name. He's still trying to prove that he's the best in the world. You know what I mean? So at this point in time, that's going to be really hard to do. I mean, they could probably get some investors behind it or whatever, Probably if they push the right buttons, they could probably get to a bag that Terrence will consider. But at this time, I don't know, man. But I just find it interesting. I find it interesting that, you know, Terrence Crawford is contemplating or considering the idea of facing Chris Eubank. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's looking at it as some easy money. Maybe since Eubank was training with Bud and them, maybe Bud seen something that he can exploit in Chris Eubank. You know what I mean? They probably sparred before and Bud saw something like this was easy work. I don't know what the situation is, bro. But if Chris Eubank gets an opportunity before Jaron Ennis, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. I'm gonna be a little disappointed in Bud and his decision making. You know what I mean? Because there's no way in hell that Chris Eubank should get an opportunity more than Jaron Ennis. Shay says Sweet Pea is like Boots at 175. I'm gonna have to check him out, bro, because you really giving this dude a whole lot of praise. You know what I mean? Especially for you only saying that he got like what 8 fights. So we definitely gonna have to check this out. I ain't gonna give nobody no boot stamp. Definitely ain't giving nobody no boot stamp. What's the dude's actual name though? You keep calling him Sweet Pea. What's his name? Because the only Sweet Pea I know is Pernell. So who we talking about? You said it's not Ben Whitaker. Who is it? God, let me know who you talking about so I can look him up. Boots is the best. He just need a name. Yo, listen, I see that too. I do think that Boots could be the best fighter in the world right now. I think that boy is a legitimate problem. I think he's gifted. I think he's a generational talent. He just need that one name to step in front of him so he can show the world exactly who he is. And once he's able to show who he is and proves to the people that he is who he claims to be, man, his stock is gonna shoot to a whole different level. He said his name is Paulo Ocaso? Is that how you say his name? Paulo Ocaso? That definitely sounds like a Samoan ass name. Shout out to my boy Mike Kirkland with the $5 super chat. He says for keeping it real about Crawford's decision making. Appreciate that, Mike Kirkland. Thank you very much, man. I'm just calling a spade a spade. You know what I mean? Like if you willing to take on Chris Eubank, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to take on Jerron Ennis. Jerron Ennis is a way bigger fight. You know what I mean? It's a more meaningful fight. It's actually for something. Chris Eubank don't bring nothing to the table besides being from the UK. So if you get a fight popping in the UK, maybe you could get a nice little bag. You probably could get a few euros. You know what I'm saying? But Jerron Ennis, that's the fight to be made right now for Terrence Crawford. You know, the Canelo fight, Canelo don't care to fight you, bro. He not looking in your direction. He about to fight Jaime Munguia. You know what I mean? Which we going to touch on a little bit. So he not worried about you. Tim Tszyu, he occupied with Keith Thurman. You know, Earl Spence, his eye healing right now. You have nowhere else to go. You know what I mean? So what we doing? What we doing, man? This is the fight to be made right now. Jerron Boots Ennis, the best fighter at welterweight right now besides Terrence Crawford. Let's see this shit happen, man. Let's see how good Terrence Crawford is. If he's able to stop Boots or beat Boots, school him, then this is just gonna let us know that this man is an all-time great. I mean, he's already showed all-time great with that Earl Spence performance, but you know, it'll make his case even better if he destroys a great talent like Jerron Ennis, man. And if Jerron Ennis defeats Terrence Crawford, this will let us know how good Boots really is. We're gonna see how good he really is because he hasn't faced any controversy yet. You know, he's been smoking these guys badly. You know what I'm saying? Hasn't really seen any type of competition. You know what I mean? Note says you think if Boots lose, people going Jack, he was too young. Yeah, it'd probably be a little similar situation to Canelo and Mayweather. You know what I mean? Where it won't necessarily like hurt his career, but they'll just say that he's too young, you know, and give Jerron an excuse and just not give Terrence Crawford any credit. But especially like if Boots were to come back off of that loss and just continue to dominate, end up being a big face in boxing, you know, they'll just say that Boots was too young, he was too green, he wasn't ready for the moment, type shit. Like what they did with Jermell and Erickson Lubin. You know, when Jermell iced Erickson Lubin was only like in his early 20s, probably like 22, 23 at the youngest. And they were saying that he was too young, he was too green, he wasn't ready for the challenge. So they might put an excuse like that out there for Jerron Ennis if he were to lose to Bud. But let's not get it mistaken. Real boxing fans know that Boots is an absolute beast. He's an animal. And I think the only person that could really beat him right now in or around his division is Terrence Crawford. I don't see nobody else beating him 147 or 154. I don't see nobody beating him besides Bud. I don't see Earl beating him. I don't see Lubin beating him. I don't see Fundora beating him. I don't see Tim Tszyu beating him. Nobody. Keith Thurman, none of them. None of them. Cody Crawley, Barrios, can't nobody fade Jerron Ennis in or around his weight class. I don't even think anybody at 140 could fade Jerron Ennis, to keep it a buck with you. Like who fucking with Boots at 140? It ain't Gary Antoine Russell. It ain't Sue Brielle. I love Sue Brielle. I'm sorry. You can't fucking with Jerron Ennis. Devin Haney definitely ain't. T.O. light in the ass. He not ready for him. Rolly, we don't need to speak on that. Ryan, not at all. You know what I mean? He'll try to fight Boots and he'll end up going crazy again. You know what I'm saying? like this can't nobody beat Boots except Bud, bro. If anybody could beat Boots, is the only name that sounds logical and beating Jerron Ennis right now is Bud. And Bud is in his late 30s, man. He got a small window. So if he gonna take on Jerron Ennis, pause, he better do that shit ASAP. ASAP. Let me see. Shay says, that's why no one calls him out. Shakur said it too. TL, why not fight Boots if you want to fight Bud so bad? They know the exact reason why, man. They know exactly who Boots is. A lot of them tread real lightly on Boots' name because they know Boots with the shit. You know what I'm saying? Boots will literally fight anybody. You tell this dude, yo, would you fight? I remember when they was talking about, yo, would you encourage that fight with Virgil Ortiz? He was like, yeah, we could fight next. And then Virgil was like, yeah, man, we could fight, but it has to be all the way up there. And bro, these dudes don't want to fight Jerron Ennis, bro. You heard Bill Haney and Devin Haney them talking about fighting at the welterweight division. They never mentioned Jerron Ennis' name. Bill Haney was on this channel, and I believe one of the guys that was talking on here, damn, I forgot who it was. He was like, yeah, man, just avoid Jerron Ennis. And Bill Haney started laughing, and then it didn't comment on it at all. And Bill Haney usually be talking greasy about motherfuckers. You know damn well he ain't talking about no Jerron Ennis. And they know exactly why, bro. They know that he an animal. They know what Boots get into, man. They don't want no smoke with that, man. They know that they can't beat him. They're not going to be able to do that jabbing and moving shit with Boots. They're not going to be able to do that. You ain't going to be able to outbox him. You got outbox Regis. You got outbox Rolly, T.O., and all of them. Boots is a whole different animal. A whole different animal. Listen to when they asked Devin and Bill about moving up the welterweight, who they consider fighting. Barrios, Keith Thurman, and then active Keith Thurman and a Barrios who came from 140 pounds and, shown that he could get outboxed. They ain't never mentioning no Jerron Ennis' name. You ain't never heard, Bill be calling all these promoters trying to make fights happen. He called Super L promoter. He called Bob Arum to make the TO fight. He trying to he's sending offers over to Tank and them. Let them send an offer Boost way. Never gonna see that happen. You know what I mean? We got 31 people in the building, man. Hit the like button as soon as you come in if you appreciate the content, man. I'm juggling being a father right now with providing the content with y'all. So if y'all appreciate the efforts, man, just hit the like button, man. I appreciate the super chat that I received from the man, Mike Kirkland. You know what I mean? Shout out to him. Javante said he won a belt at 47. Well, tell him to go get the IBF belt then. Tell him to go get the IBF belt then. You know what I'm saying? That motherfucker might get he might be talking about a WBC silver or IBF international or NABO title. That's what he might be talking about. He don't want no IBF world title, man. You know what I'm saying? He don't want that shit while Boo's got it. Top. He gonna move up to 54 by the time, so it don't matter. Yeah, that's a smart answer. Sound good. But Tank is the same one that talk about belts don't matter. But all of a sudden, he want a belt at 47. Shit crazy out here in these streets, man. Shit don't be adding up. The math ain't mathing, my nigga. I ain't gonna lie to you. But regardless, man, they know who and who not to call out, man. They know what it is. These guys that be acting like they'll fight anybody, nah, they just be talking. They just be talking. And I'm backing Boost all day over any of these motherfuckers. Any of these motherfuckers you name. You know what I mean? Any of them. Any of them. I can't wait until Boost get one of these big fights, man. I'm gonna go over to Boozy and them, cop me a Jerron Ennis hoodie, and we rocking out. You know what I'm saying? We rocking out. We riding for the guy. I'm gonna put the fight right there on this big ass what's this joint, like a 70? I forgot what it was. 70-inch. You know what I'm saying? We gonna get that shit popping. You know what I mean? Big ass fight party over here. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, I mean, look, my boy, look, Garfield over there chilling on the sofa and shit. I still gotta decorate my walls plain than a motherfucker, but it's all good. You know what I mean? We gonna get this shit going. You know what I mean? We definitely gonna get this shit rocking. We gonna, Yeah. Boots over everybody, Mike Kirkland. That's a fact. I love that you said that, my brother. Boots over everybody. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie, man. You know, I feel like a lot of people have been requesting a Boots interview and stuff like that. I feel like it ain't ready yet, man. I need it. I feel like, and I got some questions all written down. Yeah, I mean, questions that nobody had really asked Boots before. But you know, I'm gonna make sure that shit happen at the right time. You know what I mean? We really gonna get that going. I could get that interview whenever, man. He already let me know what it is. I mean, last time I went over to the gym and spoke to him, so we gonna get it right, man. We definitely gonna get it right. He said, "Give him some lasagna." His little fat ass just sit. He just sit there, bro. He just sit there, and just watch niggas all day. He don't be worried about. He don't even be eating. You know what I'm saying? Niggas just be watching everything I be doing. A little newsy motherfucker. Just want to sit there and just mind my motherfucking business. As if I'm at his crib. Like I ain't just bring his funky ass over here. All right, so all right, Clips. I appreciate that, man. Yo, I'm glad you reminded me because I probably would have stepped off this live without even speaking about it, and it's in the title. So I guess that boy Rick Glacier was wrong, man. He said, "Bro, I love to see Boots versus Subriel at 47. It'll look just like Boots and Romain Villa, man. I think Boots will stomp Subriel. Just stylistically, he's just all wrong for Subriel. I mean, he all wrong for Boots. You know what I mean? Anybody that fight like Subriel, Romain Villa, I think Subriel and Romain Villa would be a fucking banger. That'd be a bloodbath right there. But regardless, I guess that boy Rick Glacier was wrong, man. He was going around talking about PBC left Canelo. Canelo left PBC. PBC ain't had the funds. I don't know, man. Looked like PBC got that fight locked in between Canelo Alvarez and Jaime Munguia. You know what I mean? It's a collaboration between Amazon video pay-per-view and the Zone pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Because they bringing Jaime Munguia over from the Zone side and Golden Boy and stuff like that, man. So shout out to the PBC for making this fight happen. You know what I mean? I'm just glad it wasn't Jamal Charlo. In all honesty, I feel like the Jaime Munguia fight is the second best option for Canelo Alvarez. You know what I mean? I think me and you both know what the most interesting fight is for Canelo Alvarez. But regardless, man, they made the fight happen. So it's a solid fight. You know what I mean? It's a solid fight. You know, for the longest, Canelo Alvarez was coming out talking about that he ain't gonna fight no more Mexicans because he represent Mexico, whatever the fuck that mean. He was making it seem like if he fought a Mexican that it'd hurt Mexico or he wouldn't represent Mexico if he fought other Mexicans. Some blasphemous shit like that. But regardless, man, he's fighting a Mexican, Mexico versus Mexico on May 4th. That shit definitely gonna do some numbers, man. The Mexicans gonna be in the building heavy, rooting for their guys and stuff like that. And Jaime Munguia, you know, he's a young guy with a ton of fights, but essentially unproven. You know what I mean? Like John Ryder might be one of the best guys on his resume, along with like Gabe Rosado and shit like that, and Saddam Ali, like little names like that. But essentially, Jaime Munguia, we don't really know who he is yet. Like we've seen him fight, but what I'm trying to say is we don't know what he's truly capable of. And I guess he's going to prove it against Canelo Alvarez because Canelo Alvarez is one of the most experienced fighters in the game right now, one of the biggest stars in the game right now that have been in multiple pay-per-views, done for multiple world champions. So this is a really experienced fighter that Jaime Munguia is going against. And not only that, you know, Canelo Alvarez seems like he getting back in his bag. You know what I mean? He looks shitty in his last performances against like John Ryder and stuff like that. But since he got that surgery on his hand, you know, he's been feeling himself. You know what I mean? Another bad performance was the third Triple G fight. You know, haven't been able to pull the trigger, hasn't been getting any knockouts or anything like that. But he showed out against Jermell Charlo. You know what I mean? And I honestly believe it was because Jermell Charlo's inability to, you know, get Canelo off him. But regardless, he did his thing. You know, so it's a big fight for both guys. You know what I mean? And they both got a different type of motivation going into this fight because they're facing another Mexican. Jaime Munguia is somebody who comes in great shape. You know, he lets his hands go. And he's pretty good offensively, dog. I'm not going to lie to you, man. He got he gets pretty creative with his offense. He got some sharp punches. But what hurts Jaime Munguia is that his defense don't match his offense, man. He's very irresponsible defensively. I be seeing this boy get hit with just about everything motherfuckers throw, bro. I seen him hurt multiple times. I've seen him get rocked multiple times, you know, and that's not something he can afford to do against somebody like Canelo Alvarez, because Canelo Alvarez has punching power. You know what I mean? And when he gets you hurt, you know, he can really get you up out of there. So hopefully Jaime Munguia is really focusing in on his defense. He definitely going to need it, because I don't think he can afford to take too many big shots from Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is a solid puncher at 168. You know what I mean? He's gotten some stoppages at 168. He became undisputed from knocking out that fighter, Caleb Plant. You know what I mean? And Caleb Plant is a full-fledged 168. So, you know, Canelo got some pop on him, man. That boy break orbital bones and all types of shit. This is somebody that Jaime Munguia really got to take serious, you know? Now, going into the motivation that both of these guys have going into this fight, I think that Canelo's worst fear right now is him passing the torch. You know what I mean? I feel like he wants to go out on top as a top dude in Mexico. You know what I mean? I think that he would much rather lose to somebody like Bivol, who's from Russia, than lose to somebody like Benavidez or Munguia that's from Mexico. Because if he loses to Bivol, all right, it's just a Russian he losing to, you know, he could still be that top guy in Mexico. But if he loses to another Mexican, it's essentially him passing the torch over to that guy, or getting the torch taken from him and allowing that guy to take over the face of Mexico boxing. And I feel like that'll really hurt his pride. You know, he's real big on his country of Mexico, and he wants to be the face of Mexican boxing for as long as he can. So Canelo's going to have that chip on his shoulder to really prove, like, yo, I'm still that nigga in Mexico. Don't get it fucked up. I'm still him. You know what I mean? Jaime Munguia, on the other hand, is extremely motivated, because he's understanding that if he defeats Canelo Alvarez, his life changes. He becomes that man in Mexico. You know what I mean? And his paydays are going to go stupid from there. You know what I mean? So they both understand what's at stake in this fight. And I think both of these guys are going to train real well for their bouts. And I think they're gonna come in the best versions of themselves, of what's available with them. I think that they're gonna bring it all to the table. And like I said, is it the Benavidez fight for Canelo? No, but I think it's the closest thing to it. And I don't know if I'm about to fight. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I don't know. Maybe if they would have guaranteed the Benavidez fight afterwards, then I would have definitely bought it. But considering the fact that Canelo Alvarez is trying to get out of this PBC deal without facing David Benavidez, it really throws me off, and I can't really let it go. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I'll buy it, but I'll be watching it, if you know what I mean. You see what I mean? But it's a solid fight, man. You know, Cinco de Mayo weekend. That shit definitely gonna be on and rocking, man. Shout out to the Mexicans that's out here pushing the boxing culture forward. You know what I mean? But I think stylistically, this shit favors Canelo Alvarez, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, I think it's really going to benefit Canelo Alvarez, just due to the fact that Canelo is the superior boxer. You know, he's a good counter puncher. He got fast hands whenever he let them go, and he has some power. Good counter puncher. He sets traps well. You know what I mean? And he makes you miss it. He makes you pay. You know, and he definitely got some bombs in those hands of his. You know, and I think Munguia, he definitely gets reckless, and he's there to be hit. Trust me. That boy be acting like he a heavy bag sometimes. He be getting his heavy bag impersonation on and popping whenever he in the ring. You know what I mean? He definitely lacks defense. He abandons his defense. And I think that that'll really benefit Canelo Alvarez. You know what I mean? I think that Canelo Alvarez, if he doesn't knock out Jaime Munguia, I think that he'll get a decision, because he'll land the harder, cleaner, more effective shots. You feel what I mean? I think that his experience is really going to show in this bout. That's just my personal opinion. You know what I mean? Shay says, look up Sweet Pea. I'm going to ask you what you think of him next time, because I really do think he is the truth, even though he had a lot of problems in his last few camp/fights. I'll definitely let you know, man, because the way you've been talking about him, you definitely getting me interested. You know what I mean? So I'm going to check him out, and then I'm going to let you know what I think about him. But hopefully he ain't trash and you just spicing him up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna check him out for sure. But yeah, man. You know, Canelo Alvarez set to face Jaime Munguia May 4th on the Zone pay-per-view, along with Amazon Prime Video, pay-per-view, whatever the hell you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Stop Motion MMA with the $2 super chat. He says, "What's up, Mazuma TV? I'm glad Francis got KO'd." That's pretty ironic that you're glad that an MMA fighter got knocked out and your name is Stop Motion MMA. But regardless, man, I'm glad he did too. I ain't gonna lie to you, and it's not because I hate Francis Ngannou or anything like that, man. It's just that I would have hated to have seen Francis Ngannou knock out Anthony Joshua because these UFC fans, these MMA fans would have came out of their way to talk shit about boxing, to talk shit about boxing fans and stuff like that. That's what happened the last time Ngannou fought Fury. You know what I mean? So I just felt like it would have been better for boxing, way better for boxing, if Joshua put that boy on a highlight reel, and that's exactly what he did. And, you know, them MMA dudes been extremely quiet since then. Hopefully this closes the chapter on boxers fighting MMA guys, and MMA guys can stay in the octagon and boxers can stay in the ring. You know what I'm saying? But he says, "I used to fuck with MMA, but it's boxing over everybody now." Yo, I back you 1,000%, my brother. You know what I mean? I had a dude, one of my fighters, man, he came into the boxing gym as a mixed martial artist. You know what I'm saying? But then after he seen how the way we give it up in boxing and how the way we train and stuff like that, bro, he been on the boxing bandwagon since then. You feel what I mean? But it's a nice little rivalry we got going on, man. You know what I mean? But boxing always gonna be number one in my heart, bro. So I DIE. You feel what I mean? Boxing always gonna be number one. I think boxing's the best sport in the world, bro. I never get tired of the sport. You know what I mean? I'm exhausted talking to y'all about boxing right now because this is what I'm truly passionate about, bro. I work 12, 13 hours a day. You know what I mean? And I do it gladly because I understand that this is what I love to do. You know what I mean? As long as you love it, you never feel like you're working. You feel what I mean? So he said most MMA fighters want to be boxers but can't do the hard work. Damn. That's a shot at MMA guys. I don't know, man. I train some Muay Thai fighters. I train some MMA guys. I train I don't know if y'all know who he is, but I think he's still with the UFC right now. His name was like Jeremiah Wells. I trained him for a little while, you know what I mean? I think I got him ready for the fight before he got the UFC deal. Ever since he signed with the UFC, he dipped off on me. I was like, damn, man, fuck you then. Shit, you ain't want to bring me along when you signed that big deal. You was training with me before you got the deal, though. Shit, you know what I mean? I had your boxing looking real good. Shit. But yeah, Jeremiah Wells, I helped train him. I was trying to get what's that boy name? Sean Brady over to the gym, but you know, he be doing boxing with boots and them and shit. So that's still a good move, you know what I mean? But that's pretty much my spiel for the day, man. You know what I mean? I spoke on everything. You said AJ, your favorite heavyweight right now. I respect it. I respect it, man. He definitely been putting on lately, man. He been in his bag. So salute to Anthony Joshua for that. Shay says AJ starting to grow on him. Well, that's good, man. That lets you know that AJ doing something right. You know what I mean? It's just hard for me to look past that whole Wilder situation, man. That was a real big disappointment. They definitely let that fight go, but it is what it is, man. So I hope y'all all have a blessed, beautiful night, man. We got 27 people in the building. If you could hit the like button on the way out, it'll be very much appreciated, man. I'm going to catch up on some rest, make sure my son sleeping well because, you know, he a little sick and congested right now, so I'm going to be watching over him over the night and stuff like that, man. But until then, this is Mazuma TV. Thank you very much for tuning in. Shout out to everybody that's in the building, the nation of mob. Y'all been absolutely phenomenal, man. We on our way to 1,800 subscribers, man, on the road to 2K ultimately. So if y'all could share the video, like, subscribe, you know what I'm saying? Hit the bell notification, select all so you know every time I'm dropping a video or going live. Until then, man, I'll see you guys tomorrow. This is Mazuma TV. I'm out of here, man. Peace.